how to make the dress. So we started by making the chest pieces, which involves getting some thin foam, and you can either trace your bra or cut out just kind of a cup size shape, similar to what is in your bathing suit. After you've cut it out, you can fold it in half and pin on a 45-degree angle. We are then going to sew this, which will make it into more of a circular shape and 3D, if you will. When that's done, you could just cut off the excess, and when you pop them inside out, you're going to see that they have this shape to them. Next, you're going to get some fabric. We got this kind of wrinkly taupe opaque fabric from our local fabric store, and we got enough to go around us 1.5 times. You're then going to fold it in half and find the middle, and the middle is now going to be the front middle that goes in between your chest. And at the back, you can get a friend to pin along each side where the two ends meet. You just need to do this around the top on both sides. When you take the fabric off and fold it in half, you can just make sure that the sides kind of line up. And this is where we're going to put the zipper in. But right now we're just going to cut down as long as our zipper and then start going out on an angle. Make sure you cut out on an angle so that it's easier to walk and it's not like a tight pencil skirt. So we also got this kind of sheer taupe fabric, which makes a top layer. So you can just lay that out underneath, and we got about 2 times the size of us to wrap around us twice. And if you put your opaque fabric on top, you can just cut out the exact same shape. And we'll put the excess to the side. You're just gonna put a pin where your fold is to figure out where the middle is. And when you open it up, we're going to put our chest pieces on there. We left about 1 inch around the chest pieces, and we cut down the middle. You're then going to cut out your sheer fabric in the exact same fashion. When that's done, we just pinned along the top of our fabric to keep the 2 pieces together. And if you flip the top inside out, we're going to put down our chest pieces also inside out. And we took those pins, undid them, and just refastened them so that they went along the chest pieces. Essentially, we were going to be sewing the edge of the fabric along the chest pieces to give it shape. So after you've gone along the top of the chest pieces and down the side towards the middle, you can take some thread and just stitch along there. When that's done, it'll look like this. And you're just gonna hold it up to yourself, and we're gonna figure out where we would like the chest detail pieces to start. So it's kind of somewhere from where the cup ends and the side of your body, somewhere in the middle there. After you've pinned both sides, you can lay it out on the ground and fold it in half to just make sure that the pins are roughly in the same spot on each side and that they're even. So we're gonna go back to our sheer fabric and cut out a couple of long rectangle pieces. We're gonna want 2 of these, about this size. And then with the short end, you're going to gather along the edge from where you put that pin all the way along the top to about the middle of the chest piece in this gathered fashion. Do that on both sides, kind of in a inward angle so that they cross, and then you can sew along this line. Once that's done, it's gonna look like this, and they're gonna be nicely gathered, and then we're gonna pull these over top of the chest later. So next we're going to sew up the back of the dress. So you're just going to lay it inside out and make sure all the edges of the fabric line up. Then you're just gonna see where the natural fold is from the front. Since the front we kind of folded it over, this fold is gonna have to continue through the back. When you found the way that your fabric kind of wants to lie, we can then start pinning the zipper in. So right now the zipper is upside down, and you're going to fold under the edge of your fabric so that from the front you see a nice folded line, which we will then sew over. But for now we're going to continue down the zipper, and when you get to where the zipper ends, you can start putting 2 pieces from each side, so it'll be the 4 pieces of fabric together. And when it's done, it's going to look like this. You're going to sew down each side of the zipper and then continue sewing just the one line down the back of the dress. When it's done, it'll look like this. Our next step is to put on the strap. So we just bought this brown ribbon and kind of measured out how long we would like it to be and put a pin on where we would like the chest pieces to sit. And then when the dress is off of us, we just cut off the excess part of the chest piece fabric and sewed in the ribbons to the edge of the chest piece circles. Next, we're going to have to make this stone dragon piece. So we got this circular decal from a fabric store, and this is a 16 gauge wire that you can get from Micheal's. So we cut out just enough to kind of wrap around the edges of the circle. This is going to kind of act like a belt loop. So you're just going to use your fingers and some wire cutters to bend it into place. Then we took this Model Magic kind of putty stuff. This is in a stone finish, and you can get this from your local craft store or Micheal's. You have about 30 minutes to mold it, and then it will dry, and you have to make sure that you seal it up really well, otherwise it's going to dry out. We did this whole process the night before because you should leave it overnight to dry. So the first step is to roll out a long tube, and you're going to want to make the bottom part of the tube skinnier than the top. Once you've figured out how long you'd like it to be, you can just cut it off. Next, we're going to flatten this piece to make it a little bit more sharper and not as round, and make sure all the lines are sharp. Then we're going to mold the top part over top of the bottom part of our circle decal where the wire meets. This kind of secures everything in place, and on the back side you're going to want to take an extra piece and put it on top so that you can connect the back part. We're going to do something similar along the top. You're going to want to make sure the front and back are fully enclosed. And we're making a small rectangular piece on the top. As you can see, everything's enclosed, and we're just going to straighten up this top rectangle. When it's done, it kind of looks like a lizard head and a lizard tail. Next, to make the dragon heads, you're going to get a small piece of the Model Magic again, and make a small rectangle. And then you're going to put a slice, not all the way through, but towards the bottom half of your rectangle. This is your mouth. You're going to try to indent the top part of the mouth and the bottom part of the mouth to make it a little bit more realistic. And then you can add teeth using your knife. We used a pointy but not very sharp knife here. When it's done, it should look something like this, and we're just going to add some big nostrils on the nose. And some smaller holes for eyes. Rawr. So you're going to make 2 more of these, and these are your dragon heads. After they've dried overnight, you can spray paint them if you'd like the color to be a little bit more silver like we did. These other pieces we will show you how to make in a bit. Next, you're just going to hot glue these pieces on. You can also use super glue if you're finding that your hot glue isn't really working. And you're just going to glue 2 to the side and 1 to the front. And this is what it should look like when it's done. So putting on your dress, you're going to take one of your chest pieces that you've sewed on and thread it from the back to the front around the wire and bring it in from the front to the back. You're going to pull this tight, but we can actually adjust it a little bit later. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side, but come in from the back to the front, pull it around to the other side, and go in from the front to the back. Again, it's kind of like a belt holder, and you can adjust it. You're going to wrap these around the back, and now we will show you how to add Velcro so they can attach. You can ask a friend to just help you pin where you would like them to cross. And when you've taken the dress off, you can just put a line of thread down this pin, making sure that the belt is still kind of gathered. Cut off the excess and fold the excess over. We then took some Velcro and attached it to the folded over part of our belt. We cut off any excess and put a couple stitches at the top and the bottom of the Velcro. When you've completed this on both sides, you can then wrap around the belt and use the Velcro to secure it. All that's left now is to complete the armbands. To make the armbands, we needed the stone material from before. You're going to make these pieces, which are 3 circular teardrop balls, an archway, and the base. So to make the base, you're just going to take a small piece and flatten it out. And then you're going to make 2 long cuts along the top and bottom. And 2 cuts that come to a point on the sides. If you've already done the other piece, just make sure that they're the same size. Since you'll be making 2 sets because we have 2 arms. Make sure all the edges are nice and sharp, and we can move on to making the archway. You're going to take an even smaller piece of that model magic and flatten it. And then you're going to want to cut it into a sharp little rectangle. You're then going to bend it into shape and make sure it hardens in that shape. Next, you're going to take a small circular ball and start pinching one end so that it kind of makes a point or a tail or a teardrop. After they've dried overnight, and spray painted them if you want, you can use hot glue to secure them into place. So you're going to put the 3 teardrop balls next to each other along the base. Make sure all the balls are pointing to one direction where you will lay the archway. Going back to our brown ribbon, we're going to cut an amount that fits around our arm. And taking our Velcro again, we're going to peel off a small piece that fits on the ribbon. And you can secure the Velcro like it would to each other, leaving the sticky side up so that when you wrap it around your arm, if you stick it into place, it'll be exactly the right size. When you take it off your arm, you can cut off any excess ribbon. Finding the middle of the ribbon, you are then going to glue your base onto it. We used hot glue and it stayed on fine. If it doesn't, you can use super glue or fabric glue. The last step is to take 2 long pieces of your thin sheer fabric, and we are going to want them to go around the back of our arm. So we're going to do that gathering technique again. And we're going to sew it close to the Velcro, in between the Velcro and the stone piece. When it's done, it'll look like this. After the dress and arm pieces, the very last step was adding a bleach blonde wig. We got this off of eBay and just braided the 2 bang pieces to the very back. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to click the playlist here to see all of our other costume tutorials.